We know that the masters have already told everybody what to do. It's just that statements like master the fire, master the water, is coming across to us like some kind of cartoon, some kind of storybook, some kind of video game. We're not even really listening that they're saying, no, really, master the fire, master the elements. Because the trial that is coming to all of us and has always come is by forces that we're just ignoring at this point. We use these forces. Everybody has fire. Everybody has water. Everybody has wind. They use these forces in their body, but they're totally clueless of what these forces really are. And it's just like the same thing we discovered with the superior brachium, like a man or an alien or whatever it is sitting on the back of the brain on like the crossroads of the consciousness, and all the other things that we've discovered that just show us, like with the keys in the language, that this thing is right in front of our face. And this is why most people are not seeing it. And everywhere you go, pretty much, especially in this conscious community, people are doing the same thing. They're not practicing the techniques that allow them to master fire, master water. Now, what I'll say though is that still our tutelage and our exploration here, I want to make it very clear, always will put us into these situations anyway though. Because even if we're not proactive about mastering fire, mastering water, we get in fiery situations, watery situations where we feel like we're sinking, we're drowning. We get in situations where we're scared, we have fear. We get in spaces where we're being suffocated or we feel suffocated. So those are the actual elements. Those are the rulers of this realm. That's why it's very clear that when you master them, you become and you go beyond this realm. Other than that, as a divided human especially, not working on any of this stuff about how to balance these elements out within themselves, there's a consistent fear of any time a person comes in contact with these things. Now, there are many on the earth already that have balanced these elements or mastered these elements, and they don't even necessarily know that they've done that. Like you got surfers out there on big waves. They've already mastered the water. They're not looking at it necessarily like that. They're just out there having a great time surfing. But what they know in their mind as a real master class, if they could teach us how to do that, which would be to be there with us. It couldn't even just be a course, like a digital course only. It has to finally get to the point where you're there on the water with this guy. And this is the mentorship, because in this process, what the mentor is doing is taking you always and making sure that you're staying on the brink of your own existence. Not making it so easy for you to where you create a dependency, but not making it so difficult that you perish. You see what I mean? So that's what the master teachers are. And the elements, it's like humans were supposed to be the master teachers for other humans about the elements, not the elements teaching directly all of the beings, because the elements are too powerful. You see what I mean? That they bring all, like when you see a hurricane, like all of that wind and all of that water, does that look like something that you really want to play with? And that's why this, like, just you're playing a game. This is a joke. That's why people die in that kind of stuff, because that's when that force is there. And it's like, okay, are you familiar with this force? Like when that hurricane came through, there was a point where I said, okay, let me line up here with what I know is this force, what comes in the wind. What force comes in the wind? What force comes in the thunder? And that was my first initiation, the wind and the thunder. And then the next one, now the trial by fire. And then probably if I think about it enough, I've probably mastered other elements and just didn't see it like that in life. And that's also why we have to look into our lives and say, well, wait a minute, did I already master a force? Because I need to summons that force. That's what's going to allow me to survive in what I have to come and to keep building myself and to be aware that, hey, this is about still when you die and you become pneuma, which is like ether, the forces are going to be right there. And so now you have to realize how your life balances out with those forces. And that's what this is about. Like, if we look at every single situation that we experience. And lastly, here's the thing, because there are many who have just gone right into trying to master the forces. Many of these beings have seemed to want to go at the fire first because they just want this like this weapon. And then when they get in, it consumes them because they didn't understand, well, whoa, the equal amount of fire you have, you're going to need to have that much water. And that will be like your first lesson, fire and water, bring those into balance. In fact, the human body is pretty much a composition of just those two elements. There's earth, though, like our physical body, bones, all that, that's earth, right? So we have all the elements within us, actually in balance. I got to correct even what I'm saying. There's not an out of balance going on with the elements that we have inside of our body. Where there's an imbalance going on is that we're preferring to use one element over another. Then this is creating an imbalance. And then once you trigger these forces from the internal to the external, then these forces actually come into your external space and start testing you, right? And then the test is simply, hey, do you realize what's even going on here? Are you getting the lesson? This is not just to burn you up and to make you perish. This is to actually test you, to get you tempered properly so that you in this crucible under this pressure, which is a vacuum, a black hole, can actually become a diamond, a star, a real being that has all your elements all cohesively spinning and turning and harmonizing properly. That's the real